And again, our message was very, very simple. We wanted to expand patient access to doctors of optometry, and we also wanted to make sure that eye health and also vision care was a greater priority in health care. Because again, as you know, sometimes we're just left out as an afterthought in eye care. Again, as we said, we had a short celebration there a while ago before we started work. We did, in fact, prevail. We had detractors out there, obviously, as we always do. We had to fight the health insurance companies. We had to fight organized medicines. And to be quite frank with you, some of the other healthcare professionals didn't really line up with us as good as what I thought they should. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that, how optometry changed the tide there and some of that. Again, the Harkin Amendment. This is big, as President Biden said. This is really big for optometry. This covers all health care plans in America. All health care plans in America fall under the Harkin Amendment. Okay? So again, we have a lot of education to do about this. We have to go out and we're going to have to fight to make sure that this language is included out there as healthcare reform unwinds. The Ross Amendment, this is a prime example where optometry rose to the occasion here. You may or may not remember this, but what actually happened is the Senate bill is actually what passed, which is where the Harkin Amendment was. To be quite frank with you, we were scared to death on the House side because they were going to create a national health care exchange. It was going to be run by the federal government, and of course what ended up happening, the Senate bill passed, so it's going to be state exchanges out there. So all 50 states are going to have their own health care insurance exchange, and this will cover the people who are uninsured, the people who are underinsured, and I think you'll see in the future a lot of small business people, which a lot of us will probably fall under or use the exchanges to purchase our health insurance in the past. But again, another point that optometry came to, we were in a coalition with other healthcare providers about making sure we had non-discrimination. What we were worried about, the Ross Amendment that you heard about, was that this side of the federal law would trump all patient access laws out there that we have in this country. I'm very fortunate in Kentucky. We have great access laws to patients out there. All those laws could have been wiped off, and we were this close. And what happened in the coalition that we had, it was optometry going to the Hill and talking to the people in the House and also the Senate to make sure that the patient protection laws we had and access laws for us were not overturned. So again, I appreciate the effort of optometry and especially John Heim and his group about making sure. But again, we dodged the bullet. So now we don't have a single healthcare exchange, a national that could probably do more discrimination. Now we're going to have state exchanges. Okay? As we said before, another priority was to make sure that we had a bigger role for eye health and vision out there. We were lucky enough, and we were on the ball looking for access issues out there, that we did get an essential benefit in the new health care plan will be for children's care. This is going to start out in the state exchanges for the 32 million or so people, and kids' vision will actually be a covered service. Now, a lot of questions remain. What does this vision care for children mean? Is it eye exams? Is it materials? Is it eye exams and glasses? We, in fact, don't know what this is, and that's why we've got a lot of work ahead of us here on the federal level to make sure this is implemented, and also on the state level here, too. Also, there was a lot of controversy about well, probably in the fall last year when healthcare debate, there was a lot of controversy in the eye care industry that standalone vision plans would be usurped and they would no longer be available to our patients and also the citizens of the country. This is not true in any way. There's no disruption of any standalone vision plans out there at all today. Quite frankly, I would submit to you today it's a great opportunity for vision plans out there because now there's a new pool of patients out there, the 32 million uninsured out there that will have a vision benefit for children out there and maybe other vision benefits out there for this people in the state exchanges out there. And again, the state exchanges might grow more in the future as more people join those. So again, I think it's a great opportunity to expand vision care out there. Here's another thing, another point that we were looking for access issues, and our Washington office staff found out about these access issues. There's actually a recognition now of vision care in school-based health clinics. Now, we've been left out of this before, but there are some projects out there today that do cover medical services, psychological services, social services for children, and they're going to be based in the school itself. And again, it's another way for this healthcare reform to bring healthcare to people who might need it in a place they do need it in their school system, where they were more comfortable with. Again, we have no idea what vision is going to be defined in these school-based health clinics. Again, we have a lot of work to do. The devil's in the details, and of course, as you'll see later, the devil's in the dang regulations out there. Also, we were able again to dodge another bullet here. Medicaid was actually expanded from 100% of poverty to about 133% of poverty. So you're going to see Medicaid expanded again as more of a safety net to help people who don't have health insurance or have a hard time affording it. But one thing come out of the Senate side on this bill, we were scared to death on the House side because their main model of dealing with Medicaid and other insurance and other things like Medicaid, the CHIP plan, that kind of thing, was to use the medical home model. The medical home model uses a primary care provider, or PCP, and also you might remember in our discussions last year, they had to be board certified. And again, they didn't deal with a broad section of healthcare professionals. Lucky for us, on the Senate side, they recognize a different model called the healthcare home. This healthcare home includes multi-disciplines in there. So again, this gave us another chance to make sure optometry can be in there. Again, we're going to have to work on this on the state side because this would be a Medicaid developed plan out there. And again, we'll have to look real closely and see how these healthcare homes how they develop out there. Another thing too, if you remember, and by the way, I'll confess this to you today. I never thought healthcare reform was going to pass until the Saturday before it passed. I never thought they'd get the votes. But in AOA, we had to plan all the time that healthcare reform would pass. Whether or not we liked it or not, we figured it was going to be a reality. We need to make sure that we had greater access to patients. But anyway, you might recall that healthcare reform passed on a Sunday, and later during the week they had a reconciliation bill. Again, our AOA staff was on the ball here too. We looked at this. They were going to tax everything. By the way, too, if you read the health care reform bill, I'll give you a quick executive summary. It's real sweet up front, but as it goes on down, the next 10 years it gets pretty bitter because there's a lot of taxes on there that they didn't really tell you about. But anyway, there was going to be a tax on eyeglasses and contact lens, and we were able to get that pulled out of the bill. So there will not be any additional taxes on the sale of eyeglasses and contact lens. Also, you heard a lot of debate there when the health care reform kind of slowed down there. You heard a lot of talk about